Weigel and Rabbi Shannon Gelman.
Mizmor LaDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, Dinos teshe yar bitzeni, al me menuchos yinaleini. Nafshi yeshovev, yancheni b'maglei tzedek, leman shemo. Gam ki elech begeitz al maves, lo ira ra ki ata imadi. Shiftecha, mishantecha, hema yinachamuni. Taroch lefanai shulchan, neged tzorirai. Dishanta Vashem en Roshi Kosi Revaya Achtov Vachesed Yedefuni Kol Yemei Chayai Veshavti Beveis Adonai Leorech Yamim. The scope and magnitude of the tragedy that we confront this morning in passing our beloved Caleb Maeir, Yisrael Yehuda ben David Nehemiah, is one for which there is no adequate language, no words for which to make use of. There is little that can be offered to Dina and Oscar, and David and Julie, Ariana and Jordan, and Daniel, and Erica, Ronit, Rafi, and Yoni, Daphna and Shlomi, Itamar, and of course, grandparents, Dr. Irving Penn, and Marilyn Maeir, and to this whole community. There are no words to provide even a measure of comfort in this hour. Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah the prophet, succinctly expressed this overwhelming sense of grief, one for which there are not adequate tears, when he said, Mi yitain roshi mayim, ve'eni mekor dim'ah, who will give, if my head were made of water, my eyes were made of a fountain of tears, ve'ev ke yomam v'layla, that I might weep by day and night, for the mind to comprehend the loss of someone so young and so innocent, after everything that went on for the past 2.5 years. It's not something which we are able to digest, to comprehend. The mind hears the words, Baruch Dayan Emet, and the heart does not believe them. The heart refuses to accept those words. Yaakov Avinu knew this dreadful feeling of losing a son. His beloved Yosef had been torn away from him, or so he was made to believe. He was told that Yosef was never coming back. Vayikra Yaakov Simlosav, he tore his clothing. Vayakumu kol banav, his sons got up before him, v'chol ben osav lenachamo, to comfort him. Vayima'ein lihisnachem, but he would not accept comfort. He would not accept the devastating finality presented before him. But even as Yaakov's tenacity, his stubbornness proved correct, alas, his beloved Yosef was in fact alive. They would have their reunion. Yosef will be the one who buries his own father, and not father and mother who bury their son. This is not our circumstance today. Everyone here, but especially David and Dina, pulled every stop known to us and beyond. They refused to be comforted. They refused to accept the Gzar Din that seemed inevitable. They faced today something that Yaakov did not confront in the end. But maybe our Caleb, maybe he's not Yosef. After all, his name, Yisrael Yehuda. Yisrael is Yaakov Avinu. Yisrael Yehuda did not accept the fate that was handed to him. Instead, he changed his course, and in the process changed all of us. He taught us to connect through prayer, tefillah, to fight, and then fight again and again, through surgery, through treatment, through everything. In the end, Malach HaMavis took him away, snatched him from us in physical form. But look around. Look around and think about what we've all become. There is not a single person here, there's not a single person who is not touched in a profound way and is not a fundamentally different person today, having known and fought with Caleb on this journey. That boy taught us about struggle. That boy taught us about never giving up, about the power of kindness, of the strength of friendship, and to all his friends here, how much you meant to him. That boy, like Yaakov Avinu, may have left us in physical form, but his message lives on. And to the Malach HaMavis we say, you failed miserably today with this young boy. You did not get your way, because Team Caleb continues. Last week I saw Caleb for a second, and I felt like he was doing me a chesed. I had to go see him. And I didn't even know what to say. What do you say to a boy like that? We were making small talk in the way that he can. Every word was so difficult. And he said, and I said to him, I'm running for you. I didn't even know what to say. This race. And he said, how far? I said, I'm up to 7 or 8 miles. He goes, I could never do that. No, Caleb, you could do a lot more. Far stronger and far more capable than any of us. For now, we have to find a way to continue without the physical Yisrael Yehuda. We'll hear today from Caleb's Rebbe and Rabbi KJBS, Rabbi Aaron Liebtag, will be, as a Kohen, will be speaking to us through satellite. Caleb's mother, Dina, Caleb's father, David, and Ariana, and then from Rabbi Engel, the Kel Mali. Rabbi Liebtag.
I don't really know what to say as we gather here to mourn the loss of Caleb, a son, a grandson, a brother, a nephew, a Talmud, and a friend. There are no words. And as we sat together last night, I realized how much I had gained from knowing Caleb. My first interaction with Caleb, I later would learn, was a snapshot of his life. It was my first year teaching at Hillel Torah, and I was teaching the high Gemara class. And a few days in, Caleb, who was not originally in the class, marched his way in and said to me, Rabbi Liebtag, I want to be in this class, and I know I can handle it. I didn't really know him, but I remember that moment. And he joined, and he fought, and he struggled, and he thrived. I never forget going to the back section where he sat in the middle table because he was frustrated that he wasn't getting the Gemara. He was so frustrated, and he pushed through it, and he got it. That was Caleb. He would take extra long on his tests, last one to finish, but he got it. Later, he would admit to me a few weeks ago that while it did take him a long time, he also didn't want to go to his next period. It's the Yosef in these parshios that struggles and struggles and struggles and keeps finding new ways to succeed, and that was Caleb. I learned from Caleb how to live a life where only the people that you care about is everybody else. How worried he was when the boys came a few weeks ago, and he was so worried, how was everybody going to find time, where were they going to eat, where were they going to stay? That's who we worried about. It's the Yosef in this week's Parshios that he looks at the Sara Mashtem and the Sara Ophim and he says, Madua penechem ra'im hayom. What's the matter? How can I help you? Even in Caleb's own prison, he asked about everybody else. He would ask me about my shul and about my students, constantly asking me, how's everything? How's it going in the shul? It was about 6 weeks ago, I sat with Caleb in his house. We schmoozed a little bit. We played some Madden together. And then I had to go, and it pained me to leave him. And that day, he was in a lot of pain on his couch. He couldn't get comfortable. So I gave him a fist bump, and I said, Caleb, I gotta go. And he did the most incredible thing. He got up, and he pushed himself. And he says, I said, Caleb, what are you doing? He goes, Rabbi, I got to walk you out. I said, Caleb, I can walk myself out. He goes, it's fine, Rabbi. I'm going to walk you out. In fact, one of the last things that Caleb did for anybody was not for himself, but was for somebody else. He had taken a liking to a pair of slippers that Dina had worn. So they became Caleb's slippers. So Oscar bought her a new pair, but not as nice as the one she originally had. So it was a little bit of a joke in the house that these weren't the nicest slippers Dina used to have. And only a few days ago, with barely any strength left in him, he calls over Oscar and he says, in a barely audible voice, I got to order slippers for Mom. And on his phone, which takes us 10 seconds to tap a few things, with his little strength that he had, he ordered her new slippers. And those slippers were supposed to come on Monday, and they arrived yesterday on Shabbos. Madua penechem ra'im hayom. Caleb with his smile, what's wrong? How can I help you? These are the qualities he learned from his parents. To David and to Julie and to Oscar and to Dina, you have been, words can't describe the love that was shown between all of you, between the love and support. Every day a new normal. Every day new challenges. You went from I don't know how to we'll figure it out. You kept asking him, Madua penechem ra'im hayom, and he kept giving you that thumbs up and that smile that radiated and lifted up the world. It was only a few weeks ago that Caleb had over 30 boys at his house. The gift that they gave him, the chizuk that they gave him is immeasurable. So we spent Monday and Tuesday of that week, I got to go over and learn a little bit with them. And I thought it would be 15 minutes, 20 minutes. The first day we learned for an hour and a half. The second day we learned for an hour. And Caleb was lying down and he says to me, Rabbi, listen, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to close my eyes, but I'm listening to you. And as every boy would file in, he would ask, who is it? Who's there? Who came? And listen, he did. He offered his own Torah, his own questions. He loved learning. Caleb, I know that now your eyes are closed, but I know that you're listening. I know you're probably upset how much attention you're getting. We miss you. We're going to miss your energy and your love of sports. Nobody had more fantasy football teams than Caleb did. But your impact is going to live on. To Dina and to David, Caleb's legacy lives on with every single person that is here and the countless others whose lives he touched because he led a life of Madua penechem ra'im hayom. He was such a good person. He is no doubt sitting right now next to the Ribono Shel Olam, and he's greeting everybody with that smile. I learned from him how to maximize how upset he would be when he found out somebody wasn't taking advantage of opportunities given to them. We learned from Caleb how to be a good person, how to care about others. That's his legacy. In his too short time in this world, he leaves behind something that will last forever. And he should sit and he should help give you, your Dina, and to David, to the families, and to his friends, the chizuk and the strength to continue on 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. U'macha Hashem lakim dima me'al kol panim.
My sweet boy. It's not supposed to be like this. It wasn't the plan. But as we all know too well, Hashem natan, Hashem lakach, Yehi Shem Hashem avarach. Hashem gives, Hashem takes. May his name be blessed. You were a gift, my sweet boy, a very special gift. One of the very few that I never, ever wanted to return, and yet here we are. At only 19, you left a legacy. All the Torah learning, the mitzvot, the challah baking, the chesed, the tehillim that brought people together will live on forever. Rachel Frankel, mother of the murdered son Naphtali, once said, and I paraphrase, "I don't expect the world to remember my son. That is for family and for friends. My hope is that the world will remember all the good that was done in his name. And that is my hope too, my sweet boy, that all the good that came into the world over these past 2.5 years because of you will be remembered and be continued. And your strength, Caleb, you are the strongest person I've ever known. This too is part of your remarkable legacy. But these last 2.5 years did not define you. You defined them. Your strength, your willingness to forge ahead even when the options were less than optimal, your ability to stay positive even when things looked bleak, were nothing less than remarkable. Never did I hear you say, "I can't," or "this is unfair." Never did you complain about what you were going through. You met every challenge head on and gave me and everyone around you the strength each day, each and every day, to get up and forge ahead. And your smile, your beautiful glowing smile. It was one of Ariana's classmates who once said, "Caleb, when you smile, your whole face lights up." But it did more than just light up your face. It brought light and smiles to all who saw it. Our world will forever be darker now. You inspired everybody around you, my sweet boy. Much like your bubby, you had a very distinct knack for making people who came to do Bikur Cholim feel like you were doing Hachnasat Orchim, always drawing attention away from you and always focusing on others. In sports, you amazed me. You could play anything and play it well. Any ball, any time. Baseball was your game of choice, and you were an ace of a pitcher. I was only recently told that opposing members of Little League teams were actually afraid to bat when you pitched. It wasn't because of your wild pitches, but rather the speed and precision with which you hit the strike zone. I remember, too, our trip to Branson, Missouri, and yes, there's a reason why it's called Misery, when you were only 6. I couldn't find you. I didn't know where you were. But panic soon subsided when I found you literally pitching to a random man across an Olympic-sized indoor pool. And he asked me for your full name because he wanted to remember you when you got to the majors. I worried about you in school, much like any mother might, thinking that perhaps vocational high school would be a better fit for you than the academy. But in 8th grade, you begged the school to switch you to the honors Gemara class, much like Rabbi Liebtag just told you. And of course, I wasn't convinced that your intentions were all honorable and that the real reason you wanted to switch was to be with your friends. But with the help of Rabbi Liebtag, you astonished us all. Not only were you switched, but you excelled, paving the path to a high school career of honors classes. And though you shined in all of your classes, math was your passion. Thanks to Mrs. Broomer for planting the seed and Mrs. Wasserstrom for nurturing your passion. Graduating high school with honors and getting into colleges like UCLA and Brandeis made me realize just how wrong I was about that vocational high school. You loved family, Caleb. You loved them so. Your step-siblings were not step-brothers or step-sisters, but just brothers and sisters, and they loved you. How you used to tease Oscar about his accent and then 5 minutes later sit enthralled as he told you some ridiculous story about work. But my favorite times were Friday nights. Whether with the whole family home for Shabbos or just you, Oscar, and me, you relished the family time. Your relationship with Ariana and now Jordan was very special. You used to make us laugh all the time. Your crazy songs, which not only did you sing, but you made me sing with you. Never making any sense, but always leaving me laughing. And what about those times we both would just break out singing Mincha of Shabbos? Sounds a little insane mentioning it here, but yet it still brings a smile to my face just thinking about it. And despite the circumstances surrounding the past 2.5 years, Caleb, you were blessed, so very blessed, with friends who surpassed any relationship. They were your lifeline, everything to you. You loved them as much as they loved you. You always just wanted to be treated normally, like one of the guys. And your friends delivered. You were always one of them. And I know they will miss you more than words can describe. It was always so important for you also that everyone be included. So it was no surprise when in school you would come to me on Thursday and tell me that you wanted to invite 4, maybe 5 friends for lunch on Shabbos, only to come home Friday from school and tell me, well, it's going to be 13 or 14. As your mother, I thank them, all of them, for their unwavering support, their constant love and devotion to you and your plight. Team Caleb will continue. Your biggest thrill was being able to go to Israel after high school. But as it happened, you were only there for 2.5 months, during which time you made your presence known, and in a very good way. Such an impact you made in such a short amount of time. 3 Rebbeim from Torah Shraga came to visit you, including the Rosh Yeshiva. I don't have to tell you, Caleb, how fortunate you were with your doctors and medical staff. You had the best of the best, and had it not been for Noam Stadlin, it wouldn't have been so. Doctors Frim, Zimmer, Pinto, yes, there were 2. Pedinti, Barudi, Reed, Kaplan, all the nurses on the 6th floor at Comer, Marlito, Fatir, Megan, Sarah, Elise, Ashley, just to name a few, and your entourage of special nurses on call 24/7, Mazel, Rivka, Renee, Nora. And of course, your very first at-home nurse, who we very endearingly called Lois Lovenox, who taught you that needles are scary, but necessary. Thank you to all of you. Caleb, my sweet boy, there is so much more I can say about you. It's hard to believe that it was just 19 short years. I saw you take your first breath, and I saw you take your last. I will miss you every day, Caleb, my K, my KK, my cakes, my sweet boy.
I have to apologize. I'm not going to be able to speak so eloquently as Nita. Caleb. It's over 2.5 year battle, countless surgeries, in and out of the hospital, going to New York, going to St. Louis, through everything. He fought every single day. But he didn't fight alone. From the first days that he was diagnosed in March of 2015, his fight inspired a movement. Team Caleb was born. I'll never forget the text I got from a friend with just a picture of two of his friends wearing the bracelet. That movement just grew from that day. The tefillot, the Mass Torah study and Gemara study at Shraga, all the t-shirts and bracelets, the marathon runners, the guest scholars, students all over Israel, in yeshivas and seminaries, everyone that got gathered at the Kotel, making challah. But through it all, Caleb never complained. He never asked why. He always smiled. He just, maybe one time, said why. And when me and Dina were out of the room and some uneducated fellow walked into the room and said, "Oh, we're sorry." This was a couple days after his first surgery. "I'm sorry, you probably heard the news," and Caleb didn't hear the news. And all he wanted to do that day was, when his doctors did tell him, Dr. Pinto, he wanted to know if he'll be able to go to Mosheva that summer. But throughout his pain, he never complained. He always thanked all of his doctors and the nurses who put up with a lot for me. But he never complained. He always said, "Thank you. This is going to hurt." No, it's not going to hurt. They all loved him like their own child. Even in the last month or so, he was in a lot of pain. But he found the strength. He flew to New York for Jordan Zufruf. And the week after that, he was at Ariana and Jordan's wedding. And this was after surgery that he had a few days before to help him breathe a little bit better so he could be there. He wasn't going to miss that wedding. We spent a lot of time together the last couple of years, even before, but I try not to miss any of his sporting events, and if I did, he texted me or called me, told me the results. Of course, he was very upset if the team lost. He wasn't the greatest of losers, but he loved the sports. He loved everything. He loved his friends. We tried, even the last 2.5 years when we were planning all of his trips, he wanted to go to every baseball stadium. So we'd figure something out, but then I'd be half asleep and he'd be texting me, but maybe we can go from New York to Toronto, and then we'll go to Montreal, and then we go to Florida at the same time. I said, no, we can't do everything. He cared for everyone. 2 weeks ago, when he was visited by a player from the Blackhawks, maybe some of you heard, some of you didn't. They were talking about the Stanley Cups, that the Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups, and Caleb whispered to and got the strength to say, "Well, you might have won 4." So Brent Seabrook said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, Game 7 in 2014 against the Kings, I was watching the game and I didn't move. And then somebody asked me to move and go get something. And the second I got up, the player from the Kings scored the goal." So Brent said, "Well, you mean we could blame you for not winning 4 Stanley Cups?" And Caleb said, "Yeah, if you want to, it's all right." He never wanted to disappoint anybody, especially myself or Mom. Despite the complicated family dynamics, he would always, in the last couple of years, text me. He goes, "I'll come to your house Friday night, or I'll come to your Shabbos, and then I'll stay by Mom's, and somebody will wheel me home." He just never wanted him to be the cause of any problems. Your friends, they're like no other group in this world. They flew in left 2.5 years. The last Shabbos was just such an incredible, 2 Shabbos ago, when everybody was here from Israel and New York, visiting, and all family. It was just magical. He didn't have the strength half the time to sit up, and he just sat there. And excuse me, but his mind was always sharp. The boys were talking about eating in Israel and who eats this and who eats that. And somebody said to Jake, "Yeah, Jake, there's not a lot of things you can eat." And Jake goes, "Yeah, I'm not really eating that much." And Caleb, in his strength, excuse me for the language, he just picks up his head he was sitting by the side of the bed. And he goes, "Who you crapping, Jake?" He loved each and every one of them. And each of them, and each of you, for the remainder of your lives, will have a piece of your heart missing. But filling that space is something that you gained by having known Caleb and having him in your lives every day of your lives. You all have something to strive for, a goal to attain, a person to be like. I want to thank Hashem for giving Caleb to us for 19 years. The most sweet, selfish, loving boy a father could ever ask for. Julie, all those nights I couldn't sleep, you kept me going. In the hospital, home. Yesterday, I love you. Tina and Oscar are taking care of Caleb for the last month while I can continue to try some normalcy. I just thought of a story. Caleb was so into his fantasy teams. Thursday night, after work, I came home. I came to Dina's, spent some time with him. And it was very hard for him to talk. So he said, Dad, and I couldn't hear him. He goes, could I have my phone? I go, yeah. So I hand him his phone. It was very, very weak. It was hard for him to hold on to his phone, but what was he doing? He was making sure his lineup was set before Thursday night football started. He just wanted to win so bad. But I think he always said to me, well, if we don't win, we're still number 2 in the power rankings, or the most points scored. But he said to me, I walked in before the football part, he said, so did you go to any buildings today? He always asked me that the last couple months. I said, yeah, I went one buildings. You didn't yell at anyone, right? I said, no, I didn't yell at anyone. I happened not have to yell at anyone on Thursday. He always wanted to know about everyone else, never about him. Ariana and Jordan, you guys were his life the last 2.5 years. He always wanted, I gotta go, I gotta FaceTime with Ariana. It's almost Shabbos and I want to spend time with her. And Jordan helping him with, about a month ago, when things weren't so great, he goes, I want to ask Jordan. I go, sure, we ask him whatever you want. He goes, I want him to take over my fantasy teams. It's too much stress. He never stressed out about what he was going through. Or if he did, he didn't show it. All my family, sometimes I wasn't the easiest to get along with, and it's been a very tough time, but you guys were always there. Everybody. If we needed something, always there. Taking Roxy away. My friends, without you guys checking in, I wouldn't be able to make it through every day. Thank you. The community, and not just in Chicago, all over the world. There wasn't a day goes by or I get a text from somebody or I see somebody and how's Caleb doing? It is incredible the amount of love and care of people that cared for Caleb. I'm just sad for Caleb. He never got to live a full life. But he inspired more people in a short life than most of us do in a lifetime. I ask your forgiveness for all the times that I embarrassed you in the hospital, when I went off the ledge, if something went wrong, or I raised my voice so that someone would come and take care of you, so you wouldn't be in pain. You would say, Dad, please don't yell. Please don't raise your voice, and I would. I couldn't, as a parent, just watch you in pain. Every night, whether Caleb was at my house, or Dina's, or in Israel, other than Shabbos or Yontif, the last thing that come through on my phone, good night, I love you. And then I would say good night, I love you. And then he'd say good night, I love you. And then we'd have to stop saying. I won't get that text anymore. I love you forever. תהיה נשמתו צורה החיים.
It's not lost on me that we are here for Caleb, right before Hanukkah, our festival of lights where we celebrate the miracle of the candles burning for 8 days, when the amount of oil clearly wasn't enough. Caleb, you weren't just my brother. You were my best friend. The light in my life that never went out. You were always there to brighten my day, no matter what you were going through. While your situation wasn't always easy, you continued to shine with your positivity and your strength. And I knew I could always reach out to you for a smile. And also your sense of humor. Caleb, you were hands down one of the funniest people I ever knew. And even though you made me laugh with everything you ever said, I literally could not quote anything you said if anyone ever asked me to. You were coming up with the weirdest phrases, the weirdest songs. Like Mom said, we would sing. We didn't even know what we were saying. Usually it was Shabbos Mincha or sometimes even Kol Nidre. As horrible as that sounds, we would just sing it. And nothing made sense in English, but you cracked me up every time. And when I would try to tell somebody the same story, nobody knew what I was saying, and I was always met with blank stares. And I just had to say, you had to be there. You had to be there when Caleb said it. Not living here for the past few years, going to Israel, college, moving to New York when I got married, I relished our phone calls and our FaceTimes. Even though more recently it became more, hi Ariana, is Jordan there so I can talk to him about fantasy football? Hearing your voice always made me so happy, even for those 5 seconds. There's so much more that I wish I could say, if only I could find the words to say them. I never thought that this would be where we ended up. I never thought I would have to try and come up with a way to convey to everyone what our relationship was like. But I know what it was like, and our friends and our families witnessed it. And you were the light that touched all of us, and we are all so lucky and so fortunate to have had your warmth come our way. I know it is something that will live with all of us for a very long time. The last words you said to me on Friday were before Shabbos. It was the first time you faced me in a couple of days. And you could barely open your eyes. And you said, have a good Shabbos, love you. Then I said, I love you back. And you said, okay, I'm going to take a nap. And that was it. I will remember those words every single Friday for the rest of my life. When I go to light my candles, to always try and have a good Shabbos for you. I may not get to hear your voice anymore, or see your face, but I have 19 years of memories of being your sister that will last me a lifetime. You may not be here anymore physically, but it is your neshama, your soul, that will be with me always, and that could never be extinguished. I love you, and I will remember you every day for the rest of my life.
In a moment, we're going to recite the Kelmole, in which we ask that the Almighty will find a menucha nechona a proper rest. We'll ask the Almighty to find a space among those who are the Kedoshim and the Tahorim, the holy and the pure, who shine, who continue to shine. This is the darkest point of the year. This is the time when daylight fails us so easily. This is the holiday in which we are asked to light those lights, so beautifully spoken about. These are the parshiot of Yisrael, Yehudah, that we read about in the Torah. And listening to the words of the Kelmale, and participating now, not just in the Levaya here, but hopefully to be Malave, Caleb, on the journey to that Menucha Nechona. I hope everybody will take from here, myself included, a way that each of us will kindle lights, like Caleb did. Yisrael Yehudah. Please rise now for the Kelmale prayer. El Molei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hametzei Menucha Nechona Al Kanfei HaShechina B'mahalot Kedoshim Utehorim Kezohar Akiya Mazhirim Et Nishmat Yisrael Yehuda ben David Nechemia Shehalach Le'olamo Ba'avur She'anachnu Mitpalalim Ba'ad Hazkarat Nishmato Began Eiden Tehei Menuchato Lachein Bal Harachamim Yastirehu Beseter Knafav Le'olamim V'yitzror B'tzrochaim Et Nishmato Adonai Hu Nachalato V'yanuach B'shalom Al Mishkavo V'nomar Amen. Please be seated.
This concludes the funeral here at the chapel.